Welcome to another edition of Brookfield Public Advocate. I'm your host, Bruce Senek. Tonight, we have a fun topic, and I'm sure you'll enjoy. But first, on a more serious note, I'd like to take a moment to mention we are taping this show December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, a day that will live in infamy. On this, the 70th anniversary of that fateful morning in our nation's history, I'd like you all to remember the sacrifices made that day and the days and years following in World War II and subsequent conflicts. Many years and veterans of the greatest generation have passed, but it is my hope history classes will spend extra time understanding and appreciating the sacrifices made then and those that our troops continue to make today, allowing us to live in the greatest country, the United States of America. Thank you. The idea for tonight's show came after my attendance at the Brookfield Best of Brookfield chamber event at the Candlewood Lake Club this past October. Meandering through several displays that I'd not seen at previous shows, I stopped by the table of tonight's guest, where I was warmly greeted by their representative, their past president. She spent time talking up her club. Her enthusiasm was contagious, yet without doing so in an overbearing manner. So tonight's discussion focuses on that club, a group you've seen mentioned in the local media, the Brookfield Newcomers and Neighbors Club. Most notably known each year for organizing the Bunny Breakfast, we will enlighten you as to other activities they're involved in throughout the year in town. But first, we have two guests, and I'd like to give some background on our guests. Kathy Powers is the current president of Newcomers and Neighbors. She and her husband have lived in Brookfield for 5 years now. Prior to her move here, she lived in Zurich, Switzerland for 23 years, where she had her own event planning and catering company. Kathy loves to sail, play tennis, cook, and read. Joining Kathy tonight is Jerry Jove, the club's advisor and past president. Jerry and her husband moved to Brookfield from New York City 20 years ago to raise their daughter in a rural setting. In RN professionally, she enjoys reading, writing, and attending club events. Ladies, welcome to our show, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Let's start by telling our viewers about the club's origin, somewhat, its history.
Well, the Newcomers Clubs began as part of the Welcome Wagon, which is a national organization, and the point was to help new residents when they moved to town to get to meet neighbors easily, especially in a setting such as ours, Brookfield, where people drive and don't walk to places. It's harder to meet people. So the idea of the club was to bring people together and to have interest groups within the club where hopefully everyone would find a group that would be of interest to them. And so I'm not sure how many years ago, but I think in the 70s, Welcome Wagon and Newcomers Club split, and they're each individual entities. And so there's Newcomers Clubs in a lot of towns in the surrounding areas.
And I'd like to ask each of you, how did you each get involved with the club?
I got
Kathy?
involved because I saw the ad in the newspaper, and I called up and somebody gave me some information, and then the next thing I did was I just went to one of the events. And I think probably for a lot of people that's like the biggest step, is taking that first step, going to somebody's house where you don't know somebody, and but everybody was so welcoming, it was a lot of fun, and that was the beginning. And look, here I am now.
Here you are, the president. You liked it so much you became the president.
Too many times.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, which event did you first attend?
The first one I went to was basically one that was at somebody's house, and it was a cancer awareness party, and it was called the Pink Party. And so basically everybody was dressed in, had pink and brought pink things and everything like that. And what we did is we paid homage to the women that were in the club that had survived breast cancer. They each got a rose for every year that they had been a survivor. And it was just like, It was so much fun. It had some meaning, and it was just a great time. I couldn't have thought of a better one to go for the first one.
Good,
Everybody was
good.
very open.
And Jerry?
I learned about the club when the Welcome Wagon representative came to my house after I moved, and our club brochure was in the packet that she gave me. So I contacted the membership person that was listed, and I think the first thing I went to was something related to children. So I brought my daughter, like a mom and Todd event, and everyone was just so welcoming. Like, I did feel very anxious. I can remember like feeling my heart like beating really fast when I'm going, and I kept saying like, why am I doing this? You know, like or else I was like, oh, you know, wait, I won't go today. I'll go like next week or something like that. But I just like pushed through and went. And as soon as I went in the door, people, you know, came over and talked to me because they knew right away I was new.
Right.
So I think like if you move to this community and say you don't join our club, then it'll take you longer to meet your neighbors. But obviously everybody, you always in the end meet your neighbors. But it's a good way to, it breaks the ice much quicker. And right away you kind of are finding people who have the same interests as you do, or perhaps came from the same area that you've moved from. So most people feel like they find at least one thing in the club that they really like.
Yeah. And I would imagine it sounded as if you joined pretty soon after you arrived
I
in
did.
town.
I did, because I felt that I was used to, working, and that's where I had all my friends or friends
Right.
from work. And once I moved up here, and my lifestyle changed, I started to feel very isolated, And I thought I really need to get out and meet people. And when I saw this, I thought, well, I'm going to try this
Yeah.
and see how it works.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well. And over the years, a lot of times people, don't rejoin, but I have enjoyed it so much because I'm always meeting new people that come to town. And, when you meet new people, you learn new things. And so I've just continued to join every year because I enjoy it so much.
Yeah, good, good. Now, I'm sure our audience would like to know a little bit about some of the club's activities, and I know that you brought along a list, and your brochure lists them. So could you tell our audience about these other activities?
Some of the activities that we have are wine tasters, ladies' night out, men's night out, stitchery, bunco, book review, lunch bunch, home and garden, and sports anyone. Now, basically, with wine tasters, one of our members is, he was retired. He took over the interest group, and now we like to say we've created a wine monster out of him. He researches all the wines, he collects the wines, he drinks the wines. He tells us all about the wines. And he's really great and a lot of fun. So that's one of the groups. It's held once a month. Ladies' Night Out is basically pretty much what it says. That was what the cancer party was, or the pink party. And the women get together. It was initially for them to get away from the children and for the husbands to be able to stay home and babysit for an evening. And we go to either the theater or to a restaurant or to somebody's home, or we've gone to a self-defense class, we've gone to different spas in the area, things like that. It's pretty diverse in what we do. Men's Night Out is a little bit the same, only it's obviously just for men. They've gone to hockey games, restaurants, pool halls, glow bowling, things like that. Stitchery meets during the day. It's one of our activities that's during the day. And most of the women get together. They each bring a project for sewing. I'm not one of these members for this one, but they each bring something and they work on it and they chat and they just, that's it. Book review is held also once a month, and we basically decide on 10 books at the beginning of the year, and each one is read, and you just have a discussion about the book, and it's a very interesting one. We have some good discussions. We've had one writer come that was publishing his own book, and that was very interesting. Bunco, I don't know if you know, it's a dice game. That's mostly ladies. We have a lot of fun on that. And Sports Anyone, they've taken hikes, gone eagle watching, done midnight hikes, white water rafting we went last year, And that's a little bit more sporadic depending on what's going on in the season. So we pretty much have something for everybody, every age group, and we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, whitewater rafting, wow.
Yeah.
Certainly liability to the club for that.
We have
Yeah,
insurance.
and I'd like to add that, except for wine tasting and perhaps ladies' night out sometimes, that all the events are free. So we try to make every event accessible to all members, and we meet once. Each interest group meets once a month, and we have a newsletter that we send out to all members a month ahead to let them know what events are coming up, so that you can, RSVP in time. And we also have on our website, it lists all our different events, and you can see who's going, who in the club is going, and get more information.
Oh, and we'll mention that website at the end of the show.
Yeah.
It seems to me, with all the different events that you have, and you've got a lot going, it sounds like every month, maybe not every event every month, but you've got a lot of things going on. If you could give us a sense as to how the club is run, club meetings, officers, communication, which you touched on, but it seems like there's a lot of juggling of balls in the air.
Well, we have a board, which is basically the president, the secretary, treasurer, and advisor. And then we have different interest group chairs. And within each group, most of them have 2 chairs or co-chairs. They organize the activities for their specific group. And most of the communication is done through email and through our website, through our newsletter. We have a monthly newsletter that announces everything, and on our website there's a place where you can RSVP to anything that you want to go to or make changes or anything like that. And let's see what else. Yeah.
Well, basically the interest group chairs do like all the work associated with, their events. And they plan out the events, usually starting at the beginning of the year. We'll have a beginning year meeting where all the interest group chairs come, as well as the officers. And we kind of discuss everything, like who is, what everyone's plans are and the coordination, so that we don't have 2 events on the same night. And we try to space it out over the course of the month, so it's not like everything is happening in one week. Right. So this way, if people have, different schedules at work, they'll be able to make some things. And then usually we meet, we do a lot of email communication, obviously, between each other.
Right.
We try to do that because people's lives are getting busier, and, sometimes trying to find a date where everyone can meet is difficult. So we do a lot of email, and then we'll meet other times during the year, more so when our fundraiser is coming up, because obviously that requires more planning, and it's sometimes difficult to complete what you want to do via email. So.